Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise, if you can, for the arrival of Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Louise Arbour, Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada. Mesdames et Messieurs, veuillez vous lever, si vous pouvez, pour l'arrivée de Son Excellence, la très honorable Louise Arbour, Gouverneur général et Commandante en chef du Canada. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir, s'il vous plaît. We now welcome the Canadian Remembrance Torch. It is a symbol of gratitude for those who have served and sacrificed for our peace and freedom. The torch, carried by young Canadians, reminds us that while remembrance is about the past, it is also about ensuring future generations never forget. Designed and built by McMaster University engineering students, its torch team members lead the procession, accompanied by cadets. Nous accueillons maintenant la flamme canadienne du souvenir. Elle symbolise la reconnaissance envers ceux et celles qui ont servi et se sont sacrifiés pour notre paix et notre liberté. Portée par des jeunes Canadiens, cette flamme nous rappelle que si le souvenir se tourne vers le passé, il vise aussi à faire en sorte que les générations futures n'oublient jamais. Conçu et réalisé par des étudiants en ingénierie de l'Université McMaster, l'équipe responsable de la flamme ouvre le cortège, accompagnée des cadets. Please rise for our national anthem performed by the band of the Ceremonial Guard and the Governor-General's Foot Guards. Veuillez vous lever pour notre hymne national, présenté par la musique de la garde de cérémonie et le Governor-General's Foot Guards. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir, s'il vous plaît. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, the Royal Canadian Legion Dominion Command welcomes you to this special ceremony here at Canada's National War Memorial. My name is Najma Bond with the Legion's national headquarters. La Direction nationale de la Légion royale canadienne vous souhaite la bienvenue à cette cérémonie spéciale ici au Monument commémoratif de guerre du Canada. Je suis Najma Bond avec la Direction nationale de la Légion. Today, on the Legion's 100th anniversary, we are proud to reflect upon remembrance in Canada, a tradition that began in the wake of the First World War. This is a moment to contemplate a century of our shared responsibility to remember those who have served and sacrificed for Canada. For 100 years, in hundreds of locations across our country, the Legion continues to carry on this responsibility and carries it forward, serving as a guardian of remembrance. It is the Legion's essential and unwavering tradition across generations and throughout the year that we acknowledge today. Holding ceremonies, notably on November 11th, supporting veterans and their families, serving communities. These are all shades of remembrance that underpin the Legion's mission. It is about never forgetting the fallen, never forgetting the retired, and never forgetting those still serving. They have given us freedom in Canada and our enjoyment of life as we know it today. Aujourd'hui, à l'occasion du 100e anniversaire de la Légion, nous sommes fiers de réfléchir aux souvenirs au Canada, une tradition née au lendemain de la Première Guerre mondiale. C'est le moment de méditer sur un siècle de responsabilités partagées, celle de nous souvenir de ceux et celles qui ont servi le Canada et ont donné leur vie pour notre pays. Depuis 100 ans, partout au pays, la Légion perpétue cette responsabilité en agissant comme gardienne du souvenir. Cette tradition de la Légion, essentielle et inébranlable, transmise de génération en génération, est vécue tout au long de l'année. C'est ce que nous reconnaissons aujourd'hui. Organiser des cérémonies, notamment le 11 novembre, soutenir les vétérans et leurs familles, servir les communautés. Ce sont des facettes du souvenir qui resteront toujours au cœur de la mission de la Légion. Il s'agit de ne jamais oublier ceux qui sont tombés au combat, de ne jamais oublier les retraités et de ne jamais oublier ceux qui sont encore en service. Ils nous ont offert la liberté au Canada ainsi que la qualité de vie dont nous jouissons aujourd'hui. I would now like to introduce Sergeant Retired Wendy Jocko, Indigenous representative, to deliver a special welcome. J'aimerais maintenant présenter Sergente à la retraite Wendy Jocko, représentante autochtone, pour nous souhaiter une bienvenue spéciale.
Bajashin, Kakina, Tunisiak Dongom, welcome and bienvenue to everyone here today. Anishnabe Akin Ate Aweso Kikanawa Digicom. The land we're upon is the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. It is a great honor and pleasure to welcome you to Algonquin territory, which has been blessed by the Creator with many gifts. Today, at this place of stone and bronze, we gather not only to remember, but to carry remembrance. We gather for the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Legion and for the sacred work the Legion has upheld for a century. To honor service, to care for those who returned, to remember those who did not, and to keep faith with the families who have borne the weight of absence. In Algonquin teachings, the land remembers, the river remembers, the wind remembers, and the fire remembers. Here, The air itself seems to hold the names of those who offered their days, their futures, and in many cases their lives, so that others might live in peace. We stand together to listen to that memory. Commemoration is not only a moment of silence. It is a promise with a long echo. It is the promise that we will speak the truth of sacrifice without turning away. The promise that we will care for the veterans and serving members not only with words, but with steadfast action. The promise that we will teach the next generation that freedom is never free, and that peace is something that we must choose, protect, and rebuild again and again. To the veterans with us today, and to those who serve now, thank you for what you carried and for what you still carry. To the families, those who waited, worried, welcomed, grieved, and endured, thank you. Your courage is part of this story. And to everyone gathered here today on this centennial of the Royal Canadian Legion, may we renew our commitment to remembrance that lives beyond ceremonies. Let it live in how we care for one another. Let it live in how we meet difference with respect. Let it live in how we choose community over division and compassion over forgetfulness. May the Creator bless this gathering. May the spirits of the fallen be at rest here. And may our footsteps leave this place with gratitude, with responsibility, and with the quiet strength to keep the promise. We are here, we remember, and we will not forget. Miigwech.
Thank you, Sergeant Jocko. I now invite Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Louise Arbour, Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada, to share her thoughts. J'invite maintenant Son Excellence, la très honorable Louise Arbour, Gouverneur général et Commandante en chef du Canada, à partager ses réflexions.
Veterans, active members of the Canadian Armed Forces, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and peace operations, dignitaires, familles et amis. C'est pour moi un très grand honneur de célébrer avec vous aujourd'hui le centenaire de la Légion royale canadienne en tant que gouverneur général et commandante en chef du Canada. For a century, the Royal Canadian Legion has supported our veterans during and beyond their years of service, while keeping their stories alive and paying tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice. J'ai toujours été fier de l'engagement du Canada à soutenir la paix et la sécurité. Je sais que sans le courage et les sacrifices de nos vétérans, ni notre société, ni notre démocratie n'auraient pu s'épanouir comme elles l'ont fait. Nos droits et libertés n'auraient pas pu être protégés et plusieurs de nos alliances internationales auraient été fragilisées. Having worked in countries ravaged by war, poverty, and humanitarian crisis, I fully appreciate the immeasurable value of security, development, and human rights, and the need to protect them at all times, at home and abroad. Along with Canadians across the country, I understand the sacrifices made by those who choose to serve in the protection of these values and who have done so with bravery and honor from the trenches of the First World War to today's emerging frontiers of security. It is through remembering Canada's contribution to world peace that we solidify our faith in a better world. Aujourd'hui, au nom de tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes, je tiens à exprimer une immense gratitude à tous nos anciens combattants. I also thank the Royal Canadian Legion for a century of helping generations of veterans to build fulfilling lives in their communities. Beyond its commitment to veterans and their families, the Legion is a powerful force in villages, towns, and cities all across Canada. Through the dedication of its members and volunteers, it supports seniors, creates educational and sporting opportunities for young people, raises funds, and lends a helping hand to those in need. Merci de votre immense contribution à faire du Canada une société plus juste et plus solidaire et de préserver l'esprit du souvenir partout au pays. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We will now hear from the Honourable Jill McKnight, Minister of Veterans Affairs and Associate Minister of National Defence. Nous allons maintenant entendre l'Honorable Jill McKnight, Ministre des Anciens Combattants et Ministre associé de la Défense nationale.
Good morning, Your Excellency, Vice Admiral Topshee, Commissioner Duhaime, Vice Admiral Murray, Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Haley, distinguished guests, Canadian Armed Forces members, veterans, families, and friends. On behalf of the Government of Canada, thank you to the Royal Canadian Legion for 100 years of service to veterans, members of the Canadian Armed Forces and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, their families, and communities across our country. The Canadian Legion was formally incorporated in 1926, creating a national foundation for service and remembrance. As it grew and evolved, it became the Royal Canadian Legion in 1961. From that foundation grew an enduring movement of service, remembrance, and community. One that continues to evolve alongside the veterans it serves. Each year, millions of Canadians proudly wear the poppy close to their hearts during the remembrance period. Through the Legion's Poppy campaign, Canadians honor those who served while supporting programs and services for veterans and their families. The Legion has also helped to ensure that remembrance is passed from one generation to the next through educational initiatives, youth contests, and community programs. Generations of young Canadians have been encouraged to learn about service, sacrifice, resiliency, and duty. By helping young people connect with these stories, you help ensure that remembrance remains a living part of our national identity. Through your commitment to year-round remembrance, you remind us that honoring the service of Canada's veterans should not be reserved for a single day of the calendar, but be reflected in how we live as citizens each and every day. And through the solemn selection of the National Silver Cross Mother, you ensure that the voices and sacrifices of military families continue to be heard, honored, and remembered. En ces centenaires, nous célébrons non seulement tout ce que la Légion a accompli, mais aussi l'exemple qu'elle continue de donner. On soutenait les vétérans et vétérines en renforçant nos collectivités et en transmettant les histoires de celles et ceux qui ont servi. Nous contribuons à faire en sorte que leur héritage perdure. Over the past century, the faces of service have changed. Veterans' experiences have changed, and the needs of military families have changed. And while the Legion will always remain rooted in service, remembrance, and support, the success of its evolving mission will rest in its ability to listen, adapt, and build meaningful connections with the next generation of veterans. That work continues today and will be a part of their future. For countless Canadians, the Legion has been more than an organization. It has been a place where veterans found comrades who understood their experiences, where friendships were formed, and where service continued through volunteering, mentoring, and giving back to the community. For me, RCL Branch 61 in Ladner, British Columbia, is an integral part of my community and upbringing. I've attended numerous community meetings here, enjoyed events and family gatherings, and seen firsthand the Legion's role in bringing people together. It's part of the fabric of our community, where friendships are built, volunteers connect, and community come together in service for each other. Across generations, Legion members have demonstrated that service to country and service to community are inseparable. Aujourd'hui, nous reconnaissons votre contribution exceptionnelle, non seulement pour tout ce que vous avez accompli, mais aussi pour l'exemple que vous avez donné. As we look to the future, we do so with gratitude for the generations who have built the Legion, and with the confidence in the opportunities that lie ahead. The next chapter will be written by a new generation of members. They will bring new perspectives, new experiences, and new ways of serving, while carrying forth the values that inspired the Legion's founders a century ago. 100 years after its founding, the Royal Canadian Legion remains an important gathering place for Canadians, a place where remembrance is preserved and where communities are strengthened. The work of remembrance is never finished. Neither is the work of building stronger communities and supporting those who have served. May future generations continue that work with the same dedication and sense of purpose that have defined the Legion for a century. And may the next 100 years be marked not only by what we remember, by what we build together. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister McKnight. Speaking now on behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion, our Dominion President Berkeley Lawrence and Grand President Larry Murray. Prenons maintenant la parole au nom de la Légion royale canadienne sont le président national Berkeley Lawrence et le grand président Larry Murray.
Good morning. The Royal Canadian Legion is truly honored to have you join us today on the 17th of July, our 100th anniversary. We are pleased to have with us Her Excellency the Right Honourable Louise Arbour, Governor General of Canada. Our unique relationship with each Governor General goes back many years and is a special part of our past and our present. The Legion also welcomes friends, partners, collaborators who have supported us and our work since our inception. As we reflect upon our past, it is humbling to consider the countless people who came before us, those Legion members who fulfill a noble mission to serve veterans, families, and later our communities, and who promoted remembrance. The importance of remembrance, our pillar of remembrance, is what we acknowledge this morning.
C'est notre mission de gardien de souvenirs au Canada que nous commémorons ce matin. Depuis 100 ans, nous remplissons notre devoir solennel de promouvoir le souvenir et d'honorer tous ceux et celles qui ont donné leur vie pour notre pays. Nous avons tenu notre promesse de veiller à ce que le Canada n'oublie jamais.
Since November 11, 1939, we have planned and overseen our country's National Remembrance Ceremony. It is an act reflected in countless locations all across our country each year. Most of the ceremonies are organized by our hundreds of branches in every corner of this country. When we reflect upon 10 decades of remembrance, so many memories come to mind. We shall share some that encapsulate our foundational of our mission what our mission has been along this country's journey of remembrance.
Nous allons partager ici quelques souvenirs marquants qui illustrent notre parcours fondateur de commémoration pour un siècle.
We remember the first group of fallen Canadians and casualties from the First World War, the sadness and the injuries. We also remember those who were angered and saw a great need for support and advocacy. It is they who founded the Legion to ensure that veterans were cared for and remembered, not only then, but in the future.
Nous nous souvenons du premier groupe de Canadiens tombés au combat et ceux qui ont été blessés durant la Première Guerre mondiale, la tristesse et les blessures. Nous nous souvenons aussi de ceux qui, indignés par la situation, ont perçu l'urgente nécessité d'offrir du soutien et de la défense des intérêts. Ce sont eux qui ont fondé la Légion pour veiller à ce que les vétérans soient soutenus et que leur mémoire soit honorée, non seulement à l'époque, mais dans l'avenir.
We remember the adoption of the poppy in 1921. Anna Guérin of France was inspired by John McCrae's poem in 1915 in Flanders Fields, written after his Ottawa friend and fellow soldier died in battle. The poem captured sights and sounds and pled, "If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow." Anna presented the Great War Veterans Association with the red poppy idea. Just a few years before, the association joined with smaller groups and became the Legion. The poppy is forever immortalized as Canada's national symbol of remembrance and gratitude, with the Legion as its guardian.
Nous nous souvenons l'adoption de coquelicots. Anna Guérin de France s'est inspirée du poème de 1915 de John McCrae au Champ d'honneur. Écrite après la mort au combat de son ami et compagnon d'armes d'Ottawa, le poème évoquait des images et des sons et a lancé un appel. Si vous trahissez notre foi, à qui nous mourons, nous ne dormirions pas, même si les coquelicots fleurissent. Anna a proposé à la Great War Veterans Association l'idée du coquelicot rouge en 1921, quelques années seulement avant que l'association ne devienne la Légion. Le coquelicot est à jamais immortalisé comme symbole national canadien du souvenir et de la reconnaissance. La Légion en est la gardienne.
We remember the Royal Canadian Legion organizing a massive pilgrimage to France in 1936, chartering 5 steamboats, an incredible feat, so that thousands of veterans and families could witness the unveiling of the Vimy Memorial. It remains a place of incredible sadness and deep meaning. Modernized Legion's pilgrimages still take place every 2 years.
Nous nous souvenons que la Légion royale canadienne a organisé un immense pèlerinage en France en 1936. Elle avait affrété 5 paquebots, un exploit remarquable, permettant à des milliers de vétérans et à leurs familles d'assister à l'inauguration du mémorial de Vimy. Ce lieu demeure empreint d'une profonde tristesse et d'une grande portée symbolique. Des pèlerinages de la Légion modernisée continuent d'avoir lieu tous les 2 ans.
We remember the Legion establishing artistic contests for youth starting in 1960 to ensure they never forget and carry forward the act of remembrance. It is impressive that these contests continue to this day. An estimated over 100,000 young people take part each year.
Nous nous souvenons que la Légion a lancé des concours artistiques pour les gens en 1960 pour veiller à ce qu'ils n'oublient jamais et perpétuent le souvenir. Il est remarquable que ces concours perdurent encore aujourd'hui et qu'on estime qu'environ 100 000 gens y participent chaque année.
We remember that the Legion began naming Canada's Silver Cross Mother every year starting in 1936. She represents all mothers and families who have lost a loved one in the line of service. She lays a wreath on behalf at the National Remembrance Day ceremony at this very site every year.
Nous nous souvenons qu'en 1936, la Légion a commencé à désigner la mère de la Croix d'Argent. Elle représente tous les mères et les familles ayant perdu un être cher pendant son service. C'est dans leur nom qu'elle dépose une couronne pendant la cérémonie nationale du jour de souvenir à cet endroit même.
We remember the Legion's essential leadership in repatriating 2 fallen soldiers. One came home in 2000 and rests here at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The other arrived in 2024 and rests in St. John's, Newfoundland. Their tombs are special places to pay respect, with thought, with prayer, and with a poppy. Through them, we remember all of Canada's known and unknown soldiers.
Nous nous souvenons du rôle de leadership joué par la Légion dans le rapatriement de 2 soldats tombés au combat. L'un est rentré en 2000 et repose ici à la tombe de soldats inconnus. L'autre est arrivé en 2024 et repose à St. John's à Terre-Neuve et Labrador. Leurs tombes sont des lieux spéciaux pour leur rendre hommage par la pensée, la prière et un coquelicot. À travers eux, nous honorons la mémoire de tous les soldats canadiens, connus et inconnus. And at the risk of embarrassing him, I'd like everybody to know that Berkeley Lawrence was one of the 3 key leaders that made the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Newfoundland in 24 happen.
These illustrations are only some of the Legion-led initiatives that are destined to endure as we head into the country's next century of remembrance. The Royal Canadian Legion would like to acknowledge with great appreciation our over 300,000 members, our volunteers, our many supporters and collaborators, including the Canadian Armed Forces and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. We thank our government partners like Veterans Affairs Canada, Heritage Canada, and all others we have the privilege to work with. Many people and groups contribute to our work, and we deeply appreciate you all. We thank everyone who has joined the Legion in its mission. Because of you, Canada will always remember.
La Légion remercie ses 300 000 membres, ses bénévoles et ses nombreux collaborateurs, notamment les Forces armées canadiennes et la Gendarmerie royale du Canada. Nous remercions nos partenaires gouvernementaux tels que Anciens combattants Canada, Patrimoine canadien et d'autres encore. Nombreux sont ceux qui contribuent à notre travail. Nous reconnaissons aussi tous ceux qui se joignent à la Légion pour soutenir sa mission. Grâce à vous, le Canada se souviendra toujours.
Thank you, gentlemen. Each year, the Legion engages with Canada's youth in several ways, through sport, through school initiatives, and through artistic works. It is our youth who will carry remembrance forward, and it is they who often create the most inspiring words and images of gratitude. Through an annual National Youth Remembrance Contest in collaboration with the Legion National Foundation, the Legion receives incredible artwork in the form of visual art, writing, and videography. From there, tough decisions are made, locally and regionally, and ultimately, national winners are chosen in several age categories. Chaque année, la Légion s'engage auprès des jeunes Canadiens de plusieurs façons, à travers le sport, les initiatives scolaires et à travers des œuvres artistiques. C'est notre jeunesse qui perpétuera le souvenir et c'est elle qui, bien souvent, crée les mots et les images de gratitude les plus inspirants. Grâce à un concours national de la jeunesse pour le souvenir, chaque année, en collaboration avec la Fondation nationale de la Légion reçoit des œuvres d'art magnifiques sous forme d'art visuel, d'écriture et de vidéographie. Des décisions difficiles sont prises au niveau local et régional, et finalement, les gagnants nationaux sont choisis dans plusieurs catégories d'âge. We are fortunate to have a contest winner with us this morning to read her poem. Sarah Butts of Ottawa has participated in the contest since 2018 when she was in grade 4. Her sister Ava, who is here, is also a contest winner. Sarah was inspired by the stories of soldiers she met volunteering with the National Poppy Campaign. She wrote about the emotional impact of losing a loved one, and she wanted to help ensure that such sacrifice is never forgotten. Nous avons la chance d'avoir parmi nous l'une des gagnantes du concours. Elle va lire son poème. Sarah Butts d'Ottawa participe au concours depuis 2018, alors qu'elle était en 4e année. Sa sœur Eva, qui est présente aujourd'hui, a elle aussi été une gagnante. Sarah s'est inspirée des histoires de soldats rencontrés dans le cadre de son bénévolat pour la campagne nationale du coquelicot. Elle a écrit sur l'impact émotionnel de la perte d'un être cher, afin de veiller à ce qu'un tel sacrifice ne soit jamais oublié. Sarah.
A place set for you. I wake to silence where your laughter once rang, a hollow room where childhood dreams still hang. Your boots still rest beside the waiting door, as if you'll cross that threshold once more. I remember the morning you told me you'd go, your hands trembling slightly, though you tried not to show. You said you had to help our country, your voice brave but thin. And I smiled, though my heart broke quietly within. I press your picture close to my trembling chest, hoping, praying, that you'll come back home to rest. The little boy I used to hold has grown so brave and true, and all I can do is wait and worry for you. The knock that came still beats inside my ears, a sound that shattered all the coming years. Two strangers said your name, but it felt like a lie. How could the child I raised be allowed to die? The mornings since then have lost their light. The days feel longer, the colors less bright. But still, I set your place at the table each day, because pretending you're coming home helps in some way. I whisper your name in the still of the night. Your courage echoes in the fading light. Though I cannot hold the hands I once knew, I carry your strength, bravery, and courage in all that I do. Grief weighs on my heart, but time will help me cope. Your bravery gave our country a chance and hope. The child I love now rests beyond my sight, but because of his fight, the world is touched by light. So I'll tell your story for the rest of my days, in soft, steady whispers and unwavering praise. Though I lost you to freedom, to honor, to the fight, you live on in my heart, my son, my endless light. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing your emotional piece. We will now witness the changing of the centuries. Nous allons maintenant assister au changement des sentinelles.
No, Master Corporal! No, Up. Stand by, present. Stand by, present.
Please stand now for the last post, the moment of silence, the lament and rouse. Veuillez vous lever maintenant pour la dernière sonnerie, le moment de silence, la lamentation et l'éveil.
Stand by. Present. Stand by. Present.
Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir. We will now present the Act of Remembrance delivered in English, French, and Algonquin by Legion Dominion President Berkeley Lawrence, Grand President Larry Murray, and Indigenous Representative Wendy Jocko. Nous allons maintenant présenter l'acte du souvenir prononcé en anglais et en français, aussi en algonquin, par le président national Berkeley Lawrence, le grand président Larry Murray et la représentante autochtone Wendy Jocko.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
Ils ne vieilliront pas comme nous qui leur avons survécu. Ils ne connaîtront jamais l'outrage ni le poids des années. Quand viendra l'heure du crépuscule et celle de l'aurore, nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
Kida, Magigig Teyesh, Vishkoze Young, Tush, Kiji, Apita Zing, Khan, Kida, Kawi Kimozig, Onge, Apetizagan, Ashij, Endiso, Peponigak, Kiga, Pagade Namong, Apish, Ipangishimo Kizis, Ashij, Kigishe, Babagak, Kiga, Mamendo de Nimagon, Kiga, Mamendo ne Nimagon.
I would now like to invite two cadet representatives to recite the commitment to remember in English and French. They are Warrant Officer Dubois and Sergeant Dwyer. Je voudrais inviter deux représentants, Warrant Officer Dubois et Sergeant Dwyer, des cadets, à réciter l'engagement à se souvenir en anglais et en français.
They were young as we are young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge, amid the winds of time, to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember them.
Ils étaient jeunes, jeunes comme nous. Ils ont servi, donnant généreusement d'eux-mêmes. Nous leur promettons, en dépit du temps qui passe, de porter le flambeau et de ne jamais oublier. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
Thank you both. We will now hear a reflection delivered by Colonel Lisa Pakarnik, Chaplain General of the Canadian Armed Forces. Nous allons maintenant écouter une réflexion présentée par Lisa Pakarnik, aumônière générale des Forces armées canadiennes.
We pause today in solemn remembrance and deep gratitude as we honor a century of steadfast service by the Royal Canadian Legion and their commitment to care and advocate for those who served and those who fell for Canada. We stand together in recognizing this legacy of dedication. Prenons également ce moment pour nous souvenir à nouveau de ceux et celles qui ont donné leur vie au service de notre pays, de ceux qui ne sont jamais rentrés chez eux et de ceux qui sont revenus irrémédiablement changés par ce qu'ils ont enduré. N'oublions jamais. Reconnaissant pour l'héritage, l'exemple et le travail continu de la Légion royale canadienne, efforçons-nous à nouveau de bâtir une nation digne du sacrifice consenti en son nom, une nation empreinte de compassion, d'intégrité et de détermination. May our remembrance shape how we live. May the red of the poppy we wear not only remind us of the blood that was shed for the freedom we enjoy, but also ignite in us a sense of duty to uphold our veterans and their families and strengthen our commitment to justice and peace in the world. Let the next century of remembrance be marked not only by ceremonies, but by courage in service, compassion in action, and fidelity to one another, lest we forget.
Thank you, Colonel. We will now have the laying of a wreath by Canada's Governor General and the placing of poppies on the tomb of the unknown soldier by our dignitaries. I will call upon each representative in advance. Nous allons maintenant procéder au dépôt d'une couronne par la gouverneure générale du Canada et le dépôt de coquelicots sur la tombe du soldat inconnu par nos invités distingués. J'inviterai chaque représentant à s'avancer le moment venu. We begin with Her Excellency, the Right Honourable Louise Arbour, Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada. Son Excellence la très honorable Louise Arbour, Gouverneur général et Commandant en chef du Canada. Berkeley Lawrence, Dominion President, and Larry Murray, Grand President, the Royal Canadian Legion. Berkeley Lawrence, Président national, et Larry Murray, Grand Président, la Légion royale canadienne. The Honourable Jill McKnight, Minister of Veterans Affairs and Associate Minister of National Defence. L'Honorable Jill McKnight, Ministre des Anciens Combattants et Ministre associé de la Défense nationale. Vice Admiral Angus Topshee, Acting Chief of the Defence Staff. Vice-Amiral Angus Topshee, Chef d'état-major de la Défense par intérim. Commissioner Mike Duhem, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Le commissaire Mike Duhem, la Gendarmerie royale du Canada. Our youth and cadet representatives, nos représentants jeunesse et cadettes. We now invite all other veteran organizations to place a poppy if they wish. Nous invitons maintenant toutes les autres organisations de vétérans à déposer un coquelicot s'ils le souhaitent. Thank you. All others who may wish to place a poppy may do so following the ceremony. Tous les autres qui souhaitent placer un coquelicot peuvent le faire après la cérémonie. Please stand now for the royal anthem. Veuillez vous lever maintenant pour l'hymne royal. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir. Thank you for being with us on this day, the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Legion. We appreciate your presence, your ongoing collaboration, and your support of remembrance. Merci d'être parmi nous en cette occasion du 100e anniversaire de la Légion royale canadienne. Nous apprécions votre présence, votre collaboration continue et votre soutien pour le souvenir. Invited guests are reminded to make their way to City Hall for the reception at 12:30. Nous rappelons aux invités de se rendre à l'Hôtel de Ville pour la réception à 12h30. Profitez de la journée et merci. Enjoy the day. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here.